Mick Williams, Cyberline. I guess I'd have given you the number, 844-RADIO-US, 844-RADIO-US, host 2018 at cyber-line.com, and, of course, the Facebook page, facebook.com/cyberlinenet. Now, I told you how to get a hold of us to listen to the archives on Spreaker, and you can go to Spreaker and type in Mick Williams and get us. Now, I've heard some stuff I'll have to check on, because supposedly every show pertains Bob talking about his Fitbit. I kid you not, that's what one of the listeners sent me as a message. I tried to listen to your show the other week, but it's the same show
Bob
every
keeps
week.
talking about his Fitbit.
And Bob keeps going on about his Fitbit. Well, I've been a little busy. I will check into it Monday. I just want to let you know.
19,147 steps for the day, by the way.
I think they're just repeating the same show. They put it in wrong or whatever. But I saw that. I about cracked up. I was like, great. All the speaker is Bob talking about a Fitbit. But I've noted and logged. I've been a little busy, so I will check it in on Monday, and we'll see if we get that cleared up for you. And thank you for giving us the heads up. So, Tim, before we get to Apple, real quick, we talked about stuff that had happened. And the engineers, they didn't think they were going to need as much power to push the signal as they generally did with analog.
Uh-huh.
So a lot of them dropped their power. Well, one of the first things that happened was Channel 11 in Dallas couldn't get out for squat. You couldn't get them on rabbit ears. Nothing. Hardly anything. So they turned around and they opened up Channel 21, their sister station,
right,
put a .2 on it, and all the CBS programming was on the .2 while they were trying to figure out the transmitter on 11. And so if you wanted to watch Katie Couric in the CBS Evening News, 10 years ago, you had to go to 21.2. Then they finally got a 1,000,000-watt transmitter upgrades. All of these guys are having to file quick emergency referendums to the FCC. Dude,
sure,
we need to get this passed. We're not on the air, you know. And all of them, not just Channel 11. There's others that are having the same problem. And so they did that, and then they moved them finally back over to 11. And then in the middle of the Ice Bowl, I think it was, remember we had for Super Bowl? They're putting up, Channel 21 got upgraded to a 1,000,000-watt transmitter and got put off several months at a time because of weather. And then they were trying to, finally got the day to put it together, and they couldn't because there was ice on the tower.
Oh, boy.
And so they couldn't go into the construction. So there's all sorts of snafus. So when we get back, of course, to be after the 10-year anniversary, we're going to talk a lot more about stuff. And if you want to send us emails about your experiences and everything, we'll also talk about some antennas. And because a lot of equipment has come out in those 10 years, like you were talking about with the Channel Master, and a lot more better antennas and all that. And we're going to talk about that the next time we do that.
Yeah, remember, we're just talking the technology here. It's not like I'm not selling it.
Yeah, so. But, you got to know, because a lot of you are cord cutting. Cord cutting wasn't the thing then. We're all still trying to figure out this thing called digital television, and the rest of the people are like, well, I'm happy with my cable and satellite.
Right.
And then about, 5 years ago, people, I'm not so happy with my cable and satellite now, and then cord cutting started becoming the rage. So Apple's been in the news a lot, and you got something about, we're talking about Tim Cook's generation. What do you got?
Oh, yeah. He was talking about, he went and did a commencement speech. Where was it? Tulane University. Tells the graduates, look for those who have the most to lose, and
mug them.
That his generation has failed them by fighting more than making change on issues including immigration, criminal justice, and pointedly climate change. So he was really big into the climate change thing. And, it's one of those things you say, okay, all these commencement issues, commencement speeches, they're supposed to be out there to inspire you, to tell you how...
Whip up the troops!
Yeah, to tell you what a great thing that you can do if you go out there and apply yourself. And I just don't understand someone that goes in there and says, you go apply yourself because we failed. And it's like, okay, I'm supposed to take your advice from a generation who failed. You say failed.
Not only did he fail, but he got paid pretty good money to do that speech to tell you that he failed.
Okay.
I failed. Here's my check. Goodbye. You remember the speech, I guess it was last year, to a commencement at West Point or someplace? There's this general that he was the guy that was in charge when we got bin Laden, and he made the speech about making your bed that went viral.
Oh, yeah, I do remember
Yeah,
that.
he was on 60 Minutes a couple of weeks ago.
Uh-huh.
And he said, if you want to have discipline, all this, first thing you do is make your bed. And why do you make your bed? Because if you get that done, then it makes everything easier to go through. And, of course, this thing went viral. But Tim Cook, really?
Yeah.
Dude, you sell a phone. Come on.
Yeah, I just don't get. You're supposed to inspire people. That's really what. If you want to know what Apple is about, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, Apple is about that innovative step that they made on the iPhone. They took something that,
even more than that. I mean, going back to the original time of Gates and
you're right. I mean,
Jobs.
Okay. They've got the MacBook. They've got all of the innovations that led up to that.
Now, you want to talk about, that's the front end of the story. But you want to talk about the meat. I mean, it's one thing to say, I changed the computer revolution, But remember what happened to Jobs. He came in and did change the computer revolution along with.
Now, he's the inspiration there.
Yeah. But remember, he got fired.
Yes,
they
he did.
kicked him out. Yep. They didn't want him. And then the dude that was in charge ran the company into the ground.
And they went
down to $4 a shares. And then brought him back in. And he brings all of his stuff in his head that became, what was the first of the music piece?
Which iTunes?
Not iTunes.
Gosh, the
came out with the iMac. Came out with the
iPod.
That was it. Everything with an I.
Yep.
And of course brought it out of the brink of the. When we first started the show, we used to play the Mission Impossible theme and talk about the impossible mission, saving Apple, and we'd always have an Apple update because they literally were dying, and then the guy that fired him was fighting with the board because he wanted to keep the corporate jet. They said, nope, it's got to go.
Yeah.
and this same moron that ran into the ground, he's now a big shot contributor that goes on tech shows and everything, and wrote a book about moonshots. And I forget his name, but if you look up the book Moonshot, you'll know who he is. But yeah, I mean that's really the story. He started it, fired him, and brought it back and made it bigger and badder than ever. And then now Tim Cook's just a caretaker. He's a glorified caretaker of Apple. What has Tim Cook created? I mean, think of all the things that Jobs created to get them to here. And then Tim walks in. What have you done, Tim? The only thing I've seen now, and Apple, what is it? The TV piece. What a dog that's been.
Oh, Apple TV. Yeah.
Apple TV. Mm-hmm. That's been under Tim's care.
Yes.
How well the Tim Caker has watered the Apple TV.
It did start out fairly solid. There's no doubt about that. I'm not sure where it is right now, but when it came out, it was a nice box that you could go and download all the stuff. Now, I will say that competition from the other boxes, or like Roku
really put it in its place.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at that time, the only thing was Apple TV, and if you wanted the good stuff like CNBC and stuff, that was the other thing that used to drive me nuts. If I wanted to go spend the money on an Apple TV box and go through all of that, I could have NBC Live or CNBC Live.
Mm-hmm.
I could watch it all. But if I had Android or Roku, I just this crappy little app that I could put in my stocks and stuff and it'd track them for me. But then I had to watch recorded videos of the day, no live. But if you want the live stuff, son, you got to either subscribe to CNBC on your tablet or you come down here to Apple TV and you get it 24/7.
Yep.
Well, now I get it 24/7 on Roku, and I go back to Apple TV and say, guess what? I paid less for my Roku. Got it live. Suck it.
Right. And but the thing is, these innovations that they're bringing out and bringing to the public, it's really what makes you want to go out and buy into a company. And for Apple...
And they did.
Yeah. For so many years, all of those different devices that Steve Jobs brought to the forefront, he did such a fantastic job of making people go, oh, wow. Not only do you were they great new pieces of technology, but they were technologies that brought convenience to our lives. Right. And we were like going,
names
I need to have
products.
that. And that's why you saw people paying so much money, a lot of money at the time for these, what were just, they weren't called smartphones yet,
now, remember
I guess.
what I said before? They were at death's door. They were literally at the verge of bankruptcy at $4 a share. Now, when the iPod came out, they moved to about $7 a share. Or which one was it? Was the iMac first or the iPod? One of them. It moved them to 7. And then I think it was the iMac. They brought that out, and then they did the iPod. Then,
been a long time.
iPod, that's what it was. iMac first, and then iPod, because the iPod moved them to 17, and pretty much took off from there, and it just kept growing and growing and growing. Then this thing called the iPhone came out, really propelled it. Oh, by the way, we got an iPad, or we got a iPad. That moved it. Oh, and an iPhone 4. That really sunk it in.
When the iPod came out, that's when they. Let's see, when did they have the Apple Store? I guess
Apple Store, I think, came out in the 2000s, right about there, because the iPod came out about 97 or 98. And then you started seeing the Apple Store and everything.
Because that really was also a new innovation, too, that everybody was like, oh, it was a brilliant move on their part, because then everybody was like, oh, we've got to go to this place to download our applications.
Right. And then iTunes came out right about the time with it came about the time where Napster showed up, which is about 98, 99. Because they started competing with them, getting licenses and things, and now gave you something for the iPod to do, and then eventually went over to that.
Now, one of the things that they're doing right now that bothers me, getting back to this Fitbit thing that we were talking about a minute ago, got to go back to the Fitbit. But on Apple, their Apple Watch works well with the iPhone, but it doesn't work with Android as well.
And that's because Tim Cook is a caretaker.
Yeah,
he don't give a crap about you Android people.
As
long as he's making money off the services side, and he's making money and getting them to buy the next piece of candy, they don't care about Android.
But that's the thing is, I've already decided whether or not on my phone. I think it's a completely independent concept. I'm not going to go and buy an iPhone because I want to use an Apple Watch.
Right.
It's the other way around. If anything, I'm going to buy my Android phone, and I'm going to keep that Android phone, and I might or might not buy the Apple Watch out there, but I can't buy it because it doesn't work on my phone.
A lot of people complained because it was for Apple only, and I think it was Jobs that opened it up to Windows, if I recall.
Yeah.
And he got
brilliant.
Smart, and
it's
it was
brilliant.
But Tim Cook's not going to do that.
You've got to open these things up to the widest audience possible because you need the revenue stream.
No, they're not going to do it because, again, he's a caretaker who believes in climate change. Now, I was telling you about that whole stock thing. Remember, at 17,
and he, his generation failed.
Yes, he failed miserably. So 10 years later, you know how much the stock was after the iPod came out?
Nope.
When you get to 2009,
what?
$500.
Wow.
And it got as high as 700 until they did the one for 21 stock split, tumbled it down below 100, and now they're fighting. Here's the problem.
1 to 21.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
For every stock that you got back, you gave to them, you got back 21 shares.
Oh my gosh.
And now those same shares, if you'd held on to them, are now around $200.
That is incredible.
Yeah. So now here's the big problem. And this is something that I heard about, and I'm glad that the tariffs are happening because I'm learning a lot of things that I didn't realize. With Apple, we're paying $1,000 plus for these phones now. And we talked about it last time about this guy that wrote the article on the tariffs and said, well, they'll vote Trump out because people have to pay an extra $160 tariff on top of their iPhone price. And I'm like, no, they're not buying them right now because they're too expensive. But here's the thing I learned about Tim Cook, and they had an interview with him. They don't care about us. They care about China. And the reason Apple cares about China is because that's where the people are. They sell the phones cheaper in China, India, and other countries because that's what the market will bear. But then they subsidize it by soaking us with a $1,000 phone.
Right.
And you start to see a lot of these industries don't care about the American consumer because it used to be we were the guys with the money. We're the guys, controlled what we wanted and where things went. They're more concerned about selling in China, and because they have such a threshold in China, they're now getting screwed over with the tariffs and everything, and they're neglecting us because we're not buying and making it up on the back end. And so now the stock's tumbling. A lot of the banks and stuff are cutting the targets on Apple, and it's been going down. And you think about that. We're customers, and they don't care about us. They're like, no, we're going to go play with China. We're going to put our places in China, put the jobs in China. You just suck it up and pay $1,000 for an iPhone.
Hey, what it comes down to is competition is king, and if they're going to sell stuff, sell it at the same price everywhere. Don't do these things where they sell it to us at a high price and then low price over there.
In defense of them, so is everybody else. Samsung's doing it as well, and they're not getting much in the sales, but they're not getting as ripped as bad as Apple is. Okay, when we come back, we're going to tell you some more Apple stuff as well. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Wayne Allaruth, the capitalist evangelist. I'm here to introduce you to a special company with the potential to be one of the great all-American stories. Fortum Resources is a publicly traded, diversified natural resource company with oil, gas, and mining properties in North America and internationally. Fortum is led by Chairman Mark Bruner, the legendary oil man who built Ultra Petroleum from a 15-cent stock to $200 per share, creating $15 billion in shareholder profits. Mark has 30 years of experience in the oil and gas industry, overseeing contracts with Halliburton, ExxonMobil, and Hess. Fortum has over 350,000 acres of oil and gas resources, and more than half the acreage has been evaluated by world-renowned auditors Deloitte Touche. Fortum also owns the rights to the 180-square-mile City of Gold mining property. Fortum is traded on 2 global exchanges, U.S. ticker symbol FTMR. Repeat, FTMR. This is a rare ground floor opportunity to capitalize on a proven energy industry legend. Please visit FortumResources.com. That's Fortum, F-O-R-T-E-M, resources.com.
Balance of Nature, changing the world one life at a time.
When I wasn't taking it and I was waiting for my operation, I was feeling very tired. Now I'm driving like 11, 12 hours a day. I told you I manage 15 gas stations. And I have so much energy. I even gave some of my pills for my son, and he said, Dad, this is good, so I like it. I'm healing so fast. It's like amazing. My family is so surprised because my wound closing up and doing so good. So that is working now that I'm start taking my those fruits and vegetables.
Experience the Balance of Nature difference for yourself. For a limited time, you can receive a 30% discount and free shipping on your first preferred order of Balance of Nature. Call 800-2468-751 or go to balanceofnature.com and use discount code USA.
Hey travelers, do you want to save money on your next flight? Then pick up the phone and call. That's right, call, because the best prices are not online. They're with SmartFares. See, SmartFares has special deals with the airlines. When they have unsold seats, they use SmartFares to fill them. So you get airline tickets at ridiculously low prices. Our prices are too low to publish online. With the extra money you'll save, you can book another trip or treat yourself to dinner or shopping. So stop searching all of those travel sites to find the lowest price on your next flight. Let one of our SmartFares expert travel agents find ridiculously low prices for you. Call SmartFares today and get the best price on your next flight. Guaranteed. Also, save up to 50% off business and first class tickets.
800-871-3291. 800-871-3291. Again, that's 800-871-3291.
Cyberline with you. Sorry, the Twizzlers getting in the way. 844 Radio US. 844 Radio US. Okay, talk a little more about Apple. We need to talk about what's going to happen Monday. I was watching CNBC on Friday, and a big announcement came down that after 18 years, now this hasn't confirmed yet, but we pretty much think that Tim Cook, once he's done with his Tulane speech, will come down on high and talk to us Monday. I think about 10 o'clock Pacific time, so it's about 12 our time.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to announce that after 18 years, they're going to kill iTunes.
Wow.
Now, it's not the end of the world. First off, if you've got anything on iTunes, I recommend you start backing up your data. some of you probably bought movies and music and everything else. You need to make sure that you've got that on your end of the fence.
It's kind of surprising and shocking that they're going to do that because, I mean, iTunes has been around there. It was a new and, again, it was a wonderful step forward.
Well, it's pioneering.
Yeah.
Short of Napster.
And they did a fantastic job of making a market there and selling the music.
Well,
you could buy it, download it. It's great.
This is how the press conference is supposedly going to go down. You know, Facebook. Facebook at one time was Facebook and Messenger and all of them combined, right? And then they decided, no, we want to make you eat up more memory, so we're splitting it up. So now you got to go download a Facebook app. You got to go download a Messenger app. You got to go download a WhatsApp app and Instagram or whatever other apps that they have. They've basically split it up. That's what's going to happen with iTunes. It won't be iTunes per se. It might be like iMusic, iVideo, these kind of things. Mm-hmm. But it's not all going to come down a central conduit like it has with iTunes all these years. So that is supposedly what's going to happen with the press conference. And I'm sure they'll start doing some kind of a clock where they're going to say, okay, you need to do all of this stuff with iTunes before we shut it down and make iTunes go away and force you.
So does that mean they're going to morph it into something else?
Well, it's going to be something else, but it's going to be separated. It's not going to be all combined. Because, you can go to iTunes and download music. You can download a movie. You can go download a TV show. I think the books are in there, too, as well.
Well, it'll be interesting to see because, frankly, it won't surprise me that they're shutting it, that if they just shut it down. But the flip side is there's such, not goodwill, but you've got such a large market share there. It just seems like they would want to migrate that into something else as opposed to just getting rid of it altogether.
Now, here's the thing.
But if they're getting rid of Apple TV, I'm sorry, they're not getting rid of Apple TV that I know of. But if there's an issue there, or are they?
Apple TV?
Yeah.
No, in fact, they're supposed to announce a new iOS 13. And there's going to be Apple TV OS 13, from what I saw.
Okay.
So that's also going to be in the press conference as well. They're not. No, they're putting a lot of their eggs in that Apple TV basket.
So if they're going to merge, I would just see them merging it with Apple TV. That's what I would think anyway. But
well, we'll know more on Monday.
Yeah.
But here's what I'm concerned about. You remember that almost everything that you buy from iTunes had DRM.
At where? ERM? What?
Yeah. Digital rights management.
Oh, DRM. I'm sorry. Yeah.
And so it always had to kind of phone home to the mothership to
Sure.
make sure that your keys were good so you can watch your stuff. Well, how are they going to handle that? Because if iTunes goes away, because remember all the people that popped up that tried to compete, and you went and bought your MP3s and stuff with the DRM, and then they decided, well, we're not profitable, so we're shutting down, and all that stuff you bought, it can't phone home, and it's just worthless.
Right.
And we don't want that to happen with iTunes, all the stuff that people got. So I'm sure they've thought of some kind of a workaround to say,
so.
hey, we're going to move your keys and replicate them over here. That way you still use your stuff. Or, nope, sorry, you got to buy it again. Ha ha. If they go that route, yeah, there's going to be a lot of angry people.
Yeah, I think there would be.
Because there's a lot of people that probably got hundreds of dollars.
Well, I've got iTunes music over there. I mean, I don't know if I've got a ton, but I have to go back and look. But I've got some over there.
But they definitely want to look at that and see what's going on. Okay, when we come back, Bob got some stuff as well, and got some stuff about 5G. And Elizabeth Warren has a billboard. Have you seen it? And also, got to talk about the Apollo 10 Indy Tribute. If you haven't seen it, we've got it on our Facebook page. So a little local news, a little national news. And until then, around the world via the internet, coast to coast via satellite. Listen to Mick Williams Cyberline on the USA Radio Network.
If you're over the age of 50 and considering buying an annuity in the next 60 days, I have some important news for you. Don't buy an annuity until you understand the pros and cons of annuities. A free book to help you maximize your retirement income from television host and three-time author Josh Melberg has been released. This book reveals little-known truths about annuity strategies in simple-to-understand terms. Grab a pen right now because we are about to offer you this free book that unlocks the 5 little-known secrets we believe baby boomers and seniors should know before buying an annuity. Call 800-985-1813 now, and you'll receive a free copy of Josh Melberg's book, Next Gen Annuity Strategies Revealed. As a bonus, we'll also send you a copy of The Number One Mistakes Retirees Are Making with Their Investments Today, and a free DVD on how you can get up to 33% more income in retirement. Call 800-985-1813 now. Again, that's 800-985-1813. Employees of J.D. Melberg Financial have the appropriate licenses for the products they offer.